Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our live question and answer class, where I take your questions regarding American English pronunciation, sounds of English, American accent, anything to help you improve your overall communication in fluent American English. At the start of class today, I want to cover a couple of quick topics, and then feel free to put your questions in the chat at any time. If you're watching this later on, it's not live, you can add your questions in the comments, and I'll refer you to videos to help you and make note of your questions, give you some resources to help. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was these words recent versus return. And these are common everyday words. You're probably maybe pronouncing them correctly, not really thinking that you have an issue with them. But I want to point out how the syllable stress of these words, which syllable is long and has a clear vowel, makes a big difference. So they look similar in terms of spelling. They both start with the letters R-E. But in the word recent, we have first syllable stress. So you see a little line here right before the letters R-I in the IPA in the dictionary. And you can see that if you read IPA, this is the E sound. So it's going to sound like re with a clear tense E sound. I'm going to hold that longer, use that clear vowel, recent. And then this second E in the second syllable basically doesn't make any sound. I go right from the letter C, which says S, into my N sound. It's called a syllabic N, recent, scent. And so this syllable is very short and has almost no vowel or definitely a reduced vowel. So that's because it has first syllable stress. So that gives us this length here, recent. Then when we look at return, we have second syllable stress, which means that the turn syllable is long and has the clear vowel, and my R in the return is short and has a reduced vowel. So even though, again, it's the letters R-E, here we have our stress symbol. We have the turn with a tight back sound as our long syllable. And then we just have a little bit of an I sound here. You might even think about it as an sound. In the dictionary, most of the time we will use an I there. But what I've noticed when I'm working with my clients is that if I suggest to them to say the I sound, they will still sometimes say a little bit of an E sound, like return. Now, people will understand you just fine if you say return instead of return. But if you're really working on having that stress and that reduced vowel, think about even saying return. And it's going to help you make a really clear distinction between a word like recent and a word like return. So that's my suggestion there, that thinking about and learning a little bit about syllable stress is really going to help you to decode words and know what the letters say in those stress patterns. Great. So that was the initial topic I wanted to cover. And then I had one other question that came in recently that I thought would be helpful for other people as well. And this viewer wanted to know about when we have a word that ends with the Z sound, like was or is, and then the next word is the word that, or also, I think they were asking also about does. So for example, does that, was that, is that. They were noticing that when they're listening to native speakers, they're not hearing much TH sound in these. They're not hearing, certainly not a break, was that, not even was that, although that is a correct way to say it. You can, if it's easy for you to move from the Z to the TH, you can use that, was that, use that, does that. If it's challenging to do the TH, you might notice that sometimes when people are linking these, native speakers, it almost sounds like was that, was that. Was that happening? Was that there? Was that busy? I would say be careful not to leave the TH out entirely. I mean, you can, was that your turn? But you're thinking about a sound that's a little between the Z and the TH when you're linking those together. So If it's very challenging, making sure that you have your voice on, and when you're linking them, you can say, is that yours? Does that hurt? Does that? So rather than going to that really careful position of the TH sound for that and the that I teach when I'm helping you to create that American TH sound, this is one context where moving from the Z to the TH does not come as far forward. And so I can say, was that, and have my tongue closer to the Z position for the first part of the word that. So if it helps you to think about that, like, does that hurt? Does that mean you're going to be busy? Is that the time? Is that the place? I'm trying to model it quite a bit so you can hear how really I'm not distinctly putting the TH in there. Okay, so that was another topic that I thought was very useful. Hadn't really thought myself very much about how that Z to TH happens. And you can work on smoothly moving from the Z to the TH, also not necessarily having such a strong TH there. So nice to see so many of you here. Please feel free to ask your questions at any time. I'll cover them for you live. And I'll go to a few other recent word of the day requests since I haven't seen any of your requests or questions just yet. So we had a recent request for the word elaborately. So let's break that one down and help you to pronounce that correctly. So first of all, if I just have elaborate, I'll put the li on here as well. So when I'm saying elaborately or elaborate, I'm not necessarily saying all of the syllables. Elaborately is obviously not smooth and fluent. So when I say elaborately, the borat unstressed syllables become reduced down to just one syllable. So it sounds more like an or an I. In the dictionary, we'll probably see an I, elab, stresses on the lab syllable. That has the black cat vowel. And then rather than elaborately, you might see that in the dictionary, elaborately. You can think about it as being more elaborately, where this letter O doesn't really make much sound. I probably go right from the B to the R sound. So thinking about elaborate, maybe even an I sound here, or schwa, elaborately. And then what you'll see is that we also use what's called a stopped T here. Elaborately, I make the T sound, but then I release right into the L. So rather than elaborately, I don't let any air out for that T, elaborately, and I just move right into the L. So elaborate, elaborately. Yeah. Okay, that's a tough one. Thanks for that request. And I'll see what other questions we have. Similarly, we have the word definitively. So let's look at that. We have, if I'm saying define, that's just like my word return, where the DE says a schwa or an I sound. Excuse me. So more like duh, and then the word fine. When we say definitively, moving to definitive, not L, but if, definitively, we have definitively. We still have second syllable stress, but instead of the I diphthong, like in define, we change to an I sound. So it becomes probably a schwa or an I there. Defin, or I, flap T, definitively. So rewriting that, I would think about duh, and then the word fin with the I vowel, like fix or fish, fin, defin, definitively. So there we have our flap T again, like we were talking about in our last word, definitively. Definitively. I'd probably say more of an I sound here than an sound. Again, those reduced vowels can be a schwa. They can be a reduced lax I sound. Just making sure that you're very quick on them is going to help you to pronounce the word correctly. Good request. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a request for executive, laboratory, either, and neither. So after class, I'm going to put some links in the timestamp in a comment directing you to videos I have for each of those words. So we've covered executive, laboratory, either, and neither in our Word of the Day series. You'll get some more detail on that. I see your second question. Which one is correct? Me either or me neither? I think me neither is correct, but people also will say me either. Did you, if you're saying I didn't get something, for example, with a negative, then me neither would be correct. But you will hear native speakers saying that incorrectly, like me either. Okay, so for either and neither, I'll talk about those words for you. What you want is the E sound is stressed, and then you have a voiced TH sound and an unstressed So for either, thinking about like either, so the part is the challenge here. So building from the back may help you. You need to have that tight, strong back R sound. So there, either. And then if I make neither, I just add an N sound. There, neither. If I have time, I'll come back and cover laboratory and executive for you. Otherwise, I suggest checking back after class, and I'll put the links for those videos for you in the comments so you can get a more detailed explanation for both of those requests. Okay, we have a request for the words hiding and hoping. So for hiding, we have first syllable stress, and it sounds just the same as the word hide. That has the I diphthong. So thinking about just trying that I, starting more open and then closing and relaxing as you go. Hi, just like saying hi. And then the D is a flap in hiding. So I don't really want a strong D. It's the same as the T in the middle of words. And then I have my ing sound, hiding. And then for hoping, you want a long stressed O, first syllable stress as well. Just like the word hope, we would have the O diphthong, ho, hold it longer, hoping. And then my P is not aspirated here. I'm not going to do hoping with a strong burst of air on the P, just a nice unaspirated P there, hoping. It's not all the way to a B sound, but you can kind of think about that as you're working on that word. Yeah, thank you for that request. We have a request for the words enable and unable. Okay, so we have for enable, the stress is on the A syllable, enable. This letter E is going to be more of an I sound. I. And then our stress marker, our A is a tense A diphthong. And then we have the BLE ending, so that's a B sound and a syllabic L, bull. So you want to have that back of the tongue down in the schwa position and the front of the tongue lifted for your ul, bull, enable. So rewriting that, I would think about it as enable, a little short, reduced in, and then length and stress on your A, and then a little bit of a bull sound. I wrote the vowel there. You want to go as much as you can right from the B into the L, but don't forget that that dark L kind of has a bit of a schwa sound to it. And then for unable, we still do have the stress on the A. So the able part is the same. the same strategy that helps you with enable will help you with unable, building from that able. And then there's maybe a little bit of secondary stress on the unable. So you want to clearly use a schwa there. You might see it as an unstressed schwa or see a secondary stress marker and a stress schwa, but you want to just make sure that you have clearly an sound on this one, unable, and an sound on this one, enable. It's almost like there's a syllable here, but almost no vowel before that N, whereas this one you want to make sure there's a clear sound, unable. They're very similar though, so that was a really good request. Thank you for that, and hopefully that cleared it up for you. To enable someone, I'm unable to enable you to do that. I thought it would be helpful to hear that contrast between those two words as well. Okay, we have a question about the word mountain without a strong T. So again, after class, I'll put timestamps in for talking about what we covered today, and I'm going to put a link there for a video I have on how to pronounce mountain, so you can see a little bit more detail on it and get into that later on. But the short version is that we have another stopped T and syllabic N here. So for mount, we have the ow diphthong, like we were talking about earlier. First syllable stress, mount, a stopped T, and then a syllabic N. So it basically sounds like, not like mo, but ow, like as in how. So mao, mount, and I'm going to put my N on and make it really short, mount. And then because that T is stopped, you won't hear any sound for it, mount. I'm just going to stop the air and then release into another N, mountain. So two short N's at the end, mountain, mountain. It's a tough one, but once you know what people are doing when they're saying it, it really helps you to be able to hear it more clearly, and you can start practicing with that stop T and that syllabic N. My video on mountain also talks about similar words like button, etc., cotton, that also have that T, stop T and N combination. Thank you for that request. Okay, hi Dimitri, nice to see you. We have a request for, Dimitri's question was, I will not have you talking behind her. I won't allow you to talk behind her. Are you thinking about like behind her back? I won't allow you to talk behind her back. So behind her back we use as an expression to mean without someone's knowledge. So for example, she went out behind her parents' back. They didn't know about it. So talking about someone behind their back is conversing, and that person doesn't know what you're saying, and you're not including them in the conversation. So maybe that's what you're asking about. You can clarify your question if that wasn't what you were looking for. Okay, we have a request for the words sedative and sedation. So for sedative, you can say it with a clear T like I just did, sedative. You'll also hear it more like sedative with a flap T there. First syllable stress sounds just like the word said, he said, rhymes with red, red 10th vowel there, seda. The A says the schwa sound, and then we have the div ending with the I vowel, sedative, sedative. Whereas sedation has second syllable stress. That's not how we write it. I'm just writing how it sounds. I'm getting ahead of myself. So sedation sounds like, here my SE is just like the RE in the beginning of return that we were talking about, where the letter E is going to be a schwa, sedation, or an I sound, unstressed, very short. And then my day syllable is where I'm going to have my clear vowel. And then my TION ending just sounds like shun, maybe a little schwa in there, shun, sedation. So the syllable stress, again, makes a difference. Sedative, clear vowel on that first syllable. Sedation, clear vowel in the middle syllable. And then the other syllables are either schwa, like or a reduced I sound. Great requests. Thank you so much. Okay. We have a question about the words soul and soul. So soul, like the human spirit, soul, like the sole of your shoe or your foot, yeah. So same pronunciation for these two. We have the O diphthong, so hold your O nice and long, soul, soul. And then the L sound is a dark L, so there's going to be a little bit of a schwa before it. You won't see that in the dictionary, you'll just see it with the L. But because I'm going from a rounded O to a more of a unrounded of the O, soul, soul, there's a little bit of a glide there. So I don't want to make a strong W like soul, but it may help you to know that your mouth makes that W sound when it's moving from the O to the L. And so when you go slowly, you hear soul, soul. When I go quickly, soul, soul, I'm moving through that W shape just because I'm linking those two vowel sounds. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you for that request. Okay, we have a question about blow versus blue. So blow up a balloon, blew up a balloon. This one is the same as the color blue. So you just need an oo vowel. So thinking about oo, lu, blue versus blow, you need the o vowel. So it's just more like an O. You'll see that in the dictionary. It has the diphthong O. Just make sure you hold your O long enough, blow. If you have trouble between those two, you might want to pair another word that rhymes. So for example, no or go versus shoe or the other blue. Yeah, thank you for that request. Okay. We have a request for bottom and button. So I mentioned that I do in my video about mountain that I'll put in the comments after class. I also talk about bottom and button in that particular video. So this will be helpful for many of you who have requests today. Looking at bottom and button, what we're looking at here is a syllabic M and a syllabic N. What that means is I'm not really making much of a vowel sound there. The M or the N stands as a syllable by itself, which means it has to function as a vowel and a consonant. So for bottom, bottom, letter O says the ah sound. The T is a flap, bottom. And we go quickly from that flap, the D sound, to the M, dum, dum, bottom. So length here and very reduced second syllable. And same thing with button, button, slightly different actually. This one is a flap and this one is a stop. So for button, I use the sound, vowel schwa. I don't release that T, not button, but I make the T shape with my tongue, but I don't let the air out. I just release it right into the N. Button. And my N is very short, almost no vowel there. So bottom, button. Yeah, those are tough words. As I said before, come back later and check the comments for this video, and I'll give you a link for my video that goes into more detail on all of those words. Okay. Dimitri is saying there's a problem with the stream chat. Sorry about that. Let's see. I'm just checking to see if I can change the, okay. Yes, I had it on top chat, so I wasn't showing maybe all of your questions. So I'll go back through and make sure I didn't miss anything. For anyone, there's an option in the chat where it can say live chat or top chat. And I think when we have a lot of comments, sometimes people's don't show up until later. I do try to go back through as I'm doing the timestamps and giving you additional links in the comments for this video to make sure if I missed somebody's question, come back to it later. That also allows me to go through the comments for the people who are watching the class not live and they have questions they'd like answered, so that I can direct information for you as well. So let me double check and see if I'm missing anything. Okay. Looks like it's showing me the same information. So for me, I'm seeing, maybe I'm missing your comments. Let's see. Okay, so I have a request for breeze and breathe. So I do have a video for this one as well. What you want with breathe is that you need the voiced TH sound. So when I say breathe, it's the same th sound that's on words like that and there. So you could try saying, for example, breathe the air, and you'll feel that voiced TH sound. Versus breeze has the Z sound at the end. And so for Z, my tongue is back behind my teeth, and the air continues, z, my voice is on. So breeze, z. It's the same position as the S sound. So you can try making an S like breeze, versus breathe. You really should feel the tongue between the teeth, and the air also continues to flow. So I felt a nice breeze. I'm going to breathe the air. After class, I'll give you a link for a more detailed video about those two words. Okay, thank you. We have a request for the word depths. That's a tough one. So depths. What's tough about this word is just that we have so many consonants together at the end. For a word like depths, I like to help you build it by adding those consonants one at a time. So we have our red tent vowel, de, like the word dead or definitely. And then depths. I do use the P, depths, so my air stops, but I can't, if I'm going to go to a TH, I can't really do dep with a strong P. So if I'm practicing that, you might want to start with dep, so you can feel the P happening. And then when you say depth, the air doesn't really come out for the P. The lips block the air, and then the air releases on the TH. So depth. It almost sounds like the P is not really there. You can get away with, no, on this one you can't get away with not saying the P, because we also have the word deaths, and death, that where I go right from the vowel to the TH. And so it's not going to sound like depths unless I stop the air with my teeth, with my lips, I mean. So trying dep and then depth. You can actually just try the PTH combo with letting a little air out. And then finally, after you've got depth, try depths. And again, you can try just the TH to S combo. I have a video to help you with THS words like depths. It's tricky, so I would say just breaking it down, finding where you're having trouble. Is it going from the P to the TH or the TH to the S? And just work on building it up in sequence. Thank you for that request. Okay, we have a question about the word animal. This is one that I often hear mispronounced, where people will use more of a vowel sound before that L, and they'll also maybe use an E, animal. You want animal. So black cat vowel first, like in cat. Cat is an animal. Stressed on the a syllable, animal. This letter I, think about it like a schwa, like an sound. And then another schwa or no vowel at all between your M and your L. Mole. Again, it's our dark syllabic L. Animal. And mole. So I talked about the syllabic L earlier in class. Hopefully that will help you. Same thing that we saw on the words with the BL, like trouble, etc. If you need more help on some of these sounds, vowel sounds, syllabic L, flap T, some of the things we're talking about in this class, you might like my Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com. What that is videos talking about each of the different consonant and vowel sounds, what words they're in, what accent error patterns you might have on them, how to practice and change those sounds, use the American patterns. It helps with your overall pronunciation, and you can also focus in on the specific things that are challenging for you. All of my online courses are either free or under $2, and so that course is just $2. It's a really great resource if you're looking to improve your pronunciation and accent. Check that out on speechmodification.com. Okay, we have a comment. It's hard to pronounce close sounds that are following each other. For example, is this their car? With the TH sound and S as Z. Yeah, definitely. So we talked about that a little in the beginning. Is this their car? This there. Is this? Yeah, let's just break down your phrase. Is this their car? So what I would suggest is work on two words at a time. So for example, is this, you can do kind of that ZTH, is this, you can work on, start with a TH, this, is this, getting that sequence of the Z pulled back to the TH more forward, is this. And then if you have trouble with, for example, from this to there, try the same thing, there, this there, just figuring out where those connections are and doing similar words. So is this, was this, does this, use this. A lot of practice on everyday words with a Z and then a TH, or with an S and a TH, like this, there, this, then, this, they, this, that, etc. Definitely anytime there's similar sounds or close in area of pronunciation sounds that are challenging for you, it's always going to be require a little bit of extra drill and practice to be able to say those smoothly and easily. And of course we're trying to connect and be fluent in our speech. In some cases, native speakers also have to slow down. Is this their car? They may have to make a little break. They may have to slow down and enunciate certain combinations of sounds more clearly. It's always, context always can make things more difficult. So that's a really good point that you made. Thank you. Okay. So we have a comment. This viewer just watched my video about older and odor, and they want to also hear about order. So I do have a video for order as well. If we're looking at all three of those words, though, older, order, and odor, just noting that we have older, that we have to lift in the front for the L and move to the D, versus order, we have two full R's in the back, and then odor, nothing between the O and the D. So odor, you can build from the der on all of them. Der, odor, der, order. That's probably the toughest one. You might want to watch the video just on order. And then der, older. Yeah, that's a good point. That's would have been a good one to include together with the other videos, other words that I did. Okay, a couple more requests and then we'll wrap up for today. I'll be back again tomorrow with another Word of the Day video. And on Sunday, we'll have our members only class. Channel members can ask their questions at any time throughout the week, and then I cover them for them in a live class on Sundays. And they don't have to attend the live class because they can watch the replay if they want, and they don't have to wait for answers to their questions. So that's a great way to support the channel, to get a little extra help and some extra perks like some members only videos and the Sunday live class. Okay, we have a request for the word ambulance. Ambulance. So we have first syllable stress, ambulance. Letter A says the A, black cat vowel, ambulance. This BU has a glide sound. So it's not an oo or an ba, but rather bya, ambulance. So the letter U, is not an oo, but rather a schwa here, ambulance. And then we almost have no vowel sound for that lens syllable. So probably you'll see a schwa in the dictionary, but you'll hear it more like lens, like a syllabic N. So thinking about ambulance. So a schwa, lunce, or lince, or almost no vowel there in that last syllable, ambulance. Okay, great. Thanks everyone so much for a wonderful class today. Some really interesting and useful questions. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you were watching this not live and you had a question, you can leave that in the comments for this video. I'll direct you to video resources, and also I can add your words and requests to my list for an upcoming Word of the Day class. I'm working my way through the many requests that have come in, and it's so helpful to see which questions you have. They help not only you, the other viewers, but also me to help me know what videos to create next and what topics to cover in class. Thanks so much for being here today. I really liked seeing you, and thanks for the wonderful questions. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.